2021 was a big year for movies. After a year of nearly no new releases, we got a ton this year. So today I wanted to take the opportunity to show you my top 10 favorite movies of 2021. Before I get started, I want to say that you may not see a movie you really enjoyed on the list. Odds are I just haven't seen it, or maybe I didn't enjoy it as much as you did, but that's okay. I'm not out here saying these are the definitive top 10 best movies of 2021. No, this is just my favorite movies of 2021. Your list probably looks completely different, and that's part of why I love film. We can all go see the same movie and walk out with different interpretations, different meanings. It's part of why film is so great. I do have some honorable mentions here that didn't quite crack the top 10, but they were definitely good enough to be acknowledged here. And those honorable mentions are A Quiet Place Part 2, The King's Man, Nightmare Alley, Don't Look Up, and Last Night in Soho. All really great movies from really talented filmmakers, but not quite as good as the top 10. So between all of the movies that I watched this year, this is my top 10 of 2021. At number 10, I have Belfast, a movie that I covered in my What You Should Go See This Thanksgiving list, so obviously I enjoyed it at the time, I still do today. This was a feel-good movie that packed a punch. It tells the story of a little boy that has a lot of turmoil going on in his life and is probably going to be moved out of the only community he's ever known. So if you're like me and someone that moved around a lot as a kid, this is something that you can connect to and enjoy. It's also a movie getting a lot of Academy Award buzz. It's probably getting nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, a bunch of acting nominations. So if anything, if you want to be well informed before award seasons start, or I guess it's already started, before the Academy Award nominations come out, this is definitely a movie that you should go see. The shot selection here is also magnificent. They took something that isn't necessarily a straightforward story, but it's not really something that you have to jump leaps and hurdles to understand. And they made all the shots convey its meaning in a way that you wouldn't expect a movie like this to do. And so that's something that I really enjoyed. With a visual medium like this is, it's important to make the most out of every shot that you possibly can. And Belfast is a movie that does this time and time again throughout the movie. Number 9 is Free Guy, a movie that I enjoyed so much that I watched the first half, and then whenever my roommate came home, I restarted it so that he could watch it as well. Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy, and everyone else behind this movie really did prove that you don't need a major IP to make a great big-budget film with a lot of laughs. This got pushed back from April 2020 to like July 2020 to like the end of 2020, and then finally it was released in August of this year. And I have to admit, I did not go see this in theaters, but I did rent it on YouTube. I'm sure that you can rent it on YouTube, Amazon, wherever you want to. Highly recommend that you do that. And the basic premise of this movie is, what if a non-playable character in a video game suddenly became sentient and was making their own decisions, calling their own shots? It's played off really funny and really goofy with a lot of gags there. Naturally, if you're in a video game environment, you can get away with a lot of crazy things happening all at once. And it also provides a lot of great cameos in here. I'm not going to give away one particular cameo that I thought was funny, but you'll know it when you see it. It also featured a supporting performance from Jodie Comer, who appears on another movie on this list, who I really feel like was a breakout star this year. I'm really looking forward to what else she does next. If you're looking for great laughs and a good time, Free Guy is definitely the movie for you. Number 8 is a movie that I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did, West Side Story. Now, I am personally not a giant fan of the original film. I know it won like 11 Academy Awards in the year that it came out, but for me it just didn't really connect as well. And I was really skeptical going into this film because my question for all remakes is, what are you adding to the story? Like, why is a remake really necessary, especially for a movie that won so many Academy Awards? Steven Spielberg proves here that he is definitively the greatest filmmaker of all time. He took an old musical that everybody knows and a lot of people love, and he actually added something to it. The colors, the dance numbers, everything leaps off the screen, and you have potentially star-turning roles here. You have Rachel Zegler, who I think should get nominated for an Oscar. She was amazing in this. Ariana DeBose, who might win an Oscar for this. Mike Faist, Ansel Elgort, obviously has been around for a while. I loved Baby Driver. All in all, really great film from a master filmmaker. Number 7, I have CODA, which is actually an acronym for Children of Deaf Adults. This film tells the story of a high school student who is actually the only hearing person in her family of 4, who throughout her entire life has basically worked as their interpreter for the community around them. While she has a lot of family obligations, she has dreams to actually go to college for singing of all things. So that naturally creates a lot of great scenes where the parents just don't understand how good their daughter is, and they just know that we need you to interpret for us so that we can make money and we can continue to go on. And while the daughter loves her family and wants to support them, she also is coming to grips with the fact that she wants to go somewhere else and she can't stay here forever. This film is actually really unique because the entire family are played by actual deaf people, which I can't even begin to understand how you direct a movie like this. Right off the bat, I think the director of this film should receive all of the nominations for what she accomplished here. All of the performances here are really good. I know that Troy Kotsur, who plays the dad, is being propped up for Best Supporting Actor, but if I had to say, I would also nominate Emilia Jones for Best Actress and Marlee Matlin for Best Supporting Actress. Really, everybody here does a great job. But yeah, I'm really rooting for Troy Kotsur to bring home the Best Supporting Actor nom. This was a really great film. Number 6 is a movie that I was really looking forward to just to see if all the hype was real about Kristen Stewart. Spencer lived up to all my expectations and even exceeded them. This is another movie that I talked about previously in a video, but I really have to emphasize that Kristen Stewart is magnificent here. This is one of the movies that had me wanting to go back to the theater to go catch things that I didn't see the first time around. And if anything, this film left me wanting to learn more about Princess Diana and just what she was all about before her tragic death. I know I've been raving about Kristen Stewart for this movie, but everything between the cinematography, production design, the score especially, really top-notch stuff here. If you have the opportunity, I think it's mostly out of theaters now, but you can rent it. I'd say it's worth the $5. If you aren't looking for something that you need to be able to interpret, maybe it's not the movie for you, but you will get a great performance from Kristen Stewart. Seriously, I'm going to say it again, she should win the Oscar for this. Number 5 is a movie that actually made my jaw drop. The first time a movie had done that since like Avengers Endgame in 2019, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I've generally been a fan of everything that Marvel has done since Avengers Endgame with the exception of a few things, but Shang-Chi is the first one that actually felt like an event. It was nice to see Marvel go back and do an origin story movie without any characters that had been featured in anything before. And yeah, we get some cameos from a few people that we've seen in a few movies, but nothing major, I would say. Simu Liu apparently lobbied for this role on Twitter, and thank God he did. I think this dude was made to be a superhero. He has such a unique charisma about him. He and Awkwafina's back and forth is one of the best, I guess, buddy cop type of relationships that I've really ever seen in an MCU movie. Left me really wanting Marvel to combine the characters in this movie with Ant-Man, and they do both take place in San Francisco, so that idea is for free, Marvel. I think the world deserves to see Scott Lang and Awkwafina go back and forth. But anyway, this movie delivered on visuals that I had never seen in a superhero movie before and really hadn't seen in any movie before, so props to them. With so many superhero movies being released nowadays, it's so important that each and every one that gets released is unique and delivers something that the audience hasn't seen before, and I can genuinely say that Shang-Chi did that for me. Number 4 is one of the biggest commercial flops of the year, and it has no right being that. The Last Duel was a spectacular movie. It's a movie revolving around the very last trial by duel in French history that stars Matt Damon, Adam Driver, and Jodie Comer, who is magnificent in this movie. She seriously, this is the most underrated performance of the year. She deserves to be acknowledged for her work in this film. And anytime I talk with people about this movie, they say, oh, that seems like something that I would really want to go see. Except no one realized that it was coming out, so it made no money, and it's likely that we just aren't going to get movies like this released in a theater anymore because this flopped so hard. Had incredible performances, great visuals, a compelling story told in a different way. It's actually told from the three different perspectives of the main characters. So Act 1, I guess, is from Matt Damon's point of view, Act 2 is from Adam Driver's point of view, and Act 3 is from Jodie Comer's point of view. I really like that. It presented a different way of telling this story that the viewer, could see how each and every person is in the right in their own mind. Whenever you go back to scenes that you've already seen, but this time from someone else's point of view, you sort of see it all connect, and you see how something like this ended up happening. This is one of the movies that had me really genuinely feeling moved whenever I was leaving the theater, because, there's a duel at the end of the movie. Shocker, the movie's called The Last Duel, and there's a clear winner here, but you realize that no one really wins in this situation, and it's just so hard to swallow that something like this actually happened in real life. So yeah, it's too late for us to support it in theaters. It's already out, it's already flopped, but I really recommend that you rent this wherever you can. It is a genuinely really good movie that's different from everything else out there. Can't recommend it enough. Number 3 on my list is King Richard, the Will Smith movie about Venus and Serena Williams' father and how he brought them up to be the people that they are today. I know in all the marketing for movies, it said, it'll make you cheer, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, but I genuinely know that this movie will make you laugh, it will make you cry, it will make you cheer. It has all that and more in this movie. I saw this movie twice, and it's been about a month since the last time I've watched it, so I've had a lot of time to actually think about it and think, okay, is this movie really as good as I thought it was, or did it just get me in my emotions, I guess? Yeah, this movie is genuinely really great. I think Will Smith delivers one of the best performances of his career here, probably only behind The Pursuit of Happiness and Ali. This movie also does a really good job of not looking back on the past with rose-tinted glasses, in showing that its subject was not a perfect person and some of his tactics weren't great. All in all, it resulted in 2 of the greatest tennis players ever. For me, it had me looking back on the movie and saying, okay, this guy wasn't a perfect parent, but he did the best he could with his girls and did what he could to keep them off the streets and make them into the driven individuals that they would grow to become. It's one of the 2 movies this year that actually made me cry whenever I watched it, the second one being Coda. So it really does have everything that you want here. It's streaming on HBO Max right now. I don't think it's still in theaters, so watch it where you can. For my number 2, guess what? I don't care if it has substantial plot holes. I don't care if it's technically not the best movie of the year. It's my second favorite movie of the year, and it's Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm a big MCU fan and a big Spider-Man fan, obviously. Spider-Man 2 is number 94 on my list. So watching this film in a theater full of people was just the best time at a movie theater that I've had since probably Avengers Endgame. Hearing everybody go crazy for the stuff that was happening in this movie was just genuinely such a good time each and every time that I watched this. And yes, I have seen this multiple times in a theater, 3 to be exact, and I'm probably going to go see it a 4th time, okay? Sue me. I like Spider-Man. I like going to the movies. I want to go experience this again. Something that this film delivered that I wasn't expecting was incredible performances. I mean, Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin? Are you kidding me? He's amazing here. Alfred Molina looks like he just stepped off the set of Spider-Man 2 with his performance. He was great. I was afraid with all of the great supporting performances that it would shroud out Tom Holland, but that dude delivered. If he needed to look like he was about to rip somebody's head off, he accomplished it. Whenever he needed to look genuinely, crushed emotionally, he delivered. Like, this dude is a legitimate good actor, and I can't wait to see him do more stuff outside of Spider-Man. And also, I love this film because it got people back in the theaters. And listen to this crazy stat. It is the number 2 highest grossing film over a weekend of all time in a global pandemic. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible, and this film made history. I could theorize how much money it would have made if we weren't going through the times that we're going through right now, but nonetheless, huge achievement. And there's something to be said whenever a big budget movie like this comes out and it's actually genuinely good. Most everyone that I've talked to about this actually loved the movie and loved the theater going experience, so hopefully hopefully it gets people going back to the theaters and the movie industry can kind of be revived by this. An outstanding third installment for the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, and I cannot wait to see what they do next. All right, number one is a movie that I watched in IMAX and it had my jaw on the floor for almost the entire time. It is one of the best movies I've ever seen in a theater. It had visual effects that have never been done before. Dune is an achievement. Director Denis Villeneuve over the last 10 years has been making not good films, but great films. And this one feels like the culmination of everything that he's been working toward. Dune is a property that people have tried to put onto the screen for decades now, and none come anywhere close to what this film accomplished, with all due respect to those filmmakers, of course. Everything about this movie immerses you into the world of Dune. It's the first film in a long time to present this world on a screen that I didn't want to leave and I wanted to spend more time at and just, discover everything going on in this galaxy. Like, who are some of the people that they refer to in this movie that we don't see? What are these planets that they're talking about? I just want to know more. I'm almost scared to read the book because I don't want Dune Part 2 to be spoiled for me, because I just loved discovering this world in this film in IMAX. It was just, I'm speechless. Almost indescribable what this movie did for me. Everything between the booming score, the set design, the costumes, the performances, the visual effects. Oh my God. I don't know a movie that has better visual effects than this. This thing is going to sweep the Oscars for all of the technical awards. It absolutely should. It deserves to. I really want to know how long it took to actually create some of the shots in this movie. You can tell that this is something that Denis Villeneuve has been thinking about his entire filmmaking career. This isn't a movie that you can kind of half-heartedly watch. This is something that you have to pay attention to, otherwise you're just not going to get it. But if you do that, odds are you're going to love it. I wish Dune Part 2 was out right now. I wish that I could go see it on the biggest screen I possibly could, but unfortunately, I have to wait until 2023 for that. Last thing I want to say before I close out the video is I want to thank you guys for supporting this channel this year. It was a big deal for me to actually start a YouTube channel. I've wanted to talk about movies on here for a really long time. I watched all of the OGs between Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns. I love those guys. I actually got to meet Sean Chandler this year. That was pretty cool. Hard to film consistently this year between, school, work. My personal life was really busy this year, so I didn't get the opportunity to upload as much as I wanted to, but that's something that I really want to fix going into next year. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for supporting me up to this point, and I can't wait to see what comes in 2022. Right, those are my favorite movies of 2021. I had a really good time at the movie theater this year, obviously, but I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what your favorite movies of the year were. Were there things on this list that you also loved? Were there movies that I didn't mention that maybe I haven't seen that you can recommend? Let me know down in the comments. I really want to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on the 100 Movie Marathon. Bye, guys.